Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Pettigrew. I'm an urban agriculture educator for Purdue Extension in Marion County. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing and hosting Detroit Hives. We have Tim and Nicole here. I've admired them on Instagram for some time now. They started the National Urban Beekeeping Day on July 19th, and they're here to share their story about urban beekeeping in Detroit. So, you guys take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex, for that wonderful introduction. We definitely appreciate you inviting us out here to speak with your audience and with Purdue University. Definitely appreciate it. Great to be a part of it. As Alex mentioned, my name is Timothy Jackson.
And my name is Nicole Lindsay.
And we're the co-founders as well as co-executive directors for Detroit Hives. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization whereby we work to create sustainable communities and bee populations by transforming vacant lots in the city of Detroit into educational apiaries and or pollen-friendly spaces. Before we dive in and share our presentation and share the really important work that we do at Detroit Hives, we'd love to be able to share with you our backgrounds and how we got, how we came across creating Detroit Hives. What was the philosophy? What was the mindset and our why? I'm a Detroit native. I was born and raised in the Motor City. I attended Mumford High School, Wayne State University, where I studied advertising and commercial photography. I'm a creative.
Yep, and I'm a Detroit native, born and raised. I actually attended Southfield High School. I graduated from Oakland University with a BA in psychology, and my background after that pretty much has been customer service.
So many probably are asking or wondering, how do we, explore the magical world of conservation? How do we get introduced to bees? Being that my background is in advertising as a creative and hers is in psychology and customer service. It all started with us seeing an article in the city of Detroit where the city is looking for nonprofit or associations. They're looking for block club members or just neighbors to buy back some of the vacant lots in the city of Detroit. At the time, there was 90,000 vacant lots, and these vacant lots were causing a big problem in our community around blight, crime, and just lowering the value of our neighborhood. And they were desperate looking for residents to buy back these vacant lots. So, we figured we can do something to give back to our community. These vacant lots were going for as low as $100. We figured we can do something to change the narrative of what most people thought about the inner city community, but also make our neighborhoods more safe. So in essence, we thought originally about a peacock farm, an outdoor photography studio, an urban campsite, and just really cool spaces we can do in place of a vacant lot, like a community garden. All these were great ideas that we had on our vision board, but in actuality, we just didn't really act on them at the time. I'll go back to my day-to-day job, and so she would as well. Until I got sick around December of 2016. So we started an article around the summer of 2016, and I got sick around the summer of 2016, and I tried almost everything. I'm sorry, December 2016. And I tried almost everything to get rid of my cough and cold, from home remedies to over-the-counter medication, to even going to a doctor to be placed on antibiotics. Nothing was working for me until I came across the power of local raw honey. From there, I began to consume this local raw honey for 3 weeks. It got rid of my cough and cold. I began to learn so much about the healing properties of local raw honey, from it being serving as a natural sweetener, where it won't spike your blood sugar as would high fructose corn syrup or artificial sweeteners or white sugar, and also how honey serves as a great solution as being topical. You can place on your skin if you have a cut, a burn, or dealing with eczema. I began to learn so much about this great product and how honeybees made honey and its great medicinal value. Nicole made a simple suggestion. She said, how about we transform a vacant lot, instead of a peacock farm, instead of a outdoor photography studio, instead of a urban campsite, how about we transform a vacant lot into a bee farm? And as different as that idea sounded, I said, let's do it. We said yes to the universe. And our very first steps was trying to go into the first direction, which was pitching this idea to a local crowdfunding campaign. It was with Detroit Soup. We pitched and we won $1,600. From there, we took our first courses as beekeepers, became certified beekeepers. We purchased our first plot, which is called the East Warren Apiary, located at 9336 East Warren in Detroit, Michigan. And we've been able to host well over 700 tours at this once vacant lot. educating our communities on the importance of bees, changing the narrative of what most people think about the inner city communities, and most importantly, working to support food security through cross-pollination. Here in the city of Detroit, there's so many, I would say, vacant lots and so many gas stations and liquor stores in some of our communities. It somewhat seems or deemed as a food desert. And that's one of the things that we're trying to combat here in the city of Detroit is providing local raw food, or I would say healthy organic food to our communities. And by partnering with the community gardens, we're able to provide food security.
Yeah, about placing my beehives there, because anytime you pair a beehive with the garden, there's always going to be an increase in the yield and the produce.
Absolutely. Without further more, we'd love to begin to share our screen with our presentation that we have for you guys this afternoon. So once again, Nicole and I, we formed Detroit Hives. We're the co-executive directors, and Detroit Hives is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So who are we? Once again, we are a 501c3 organization co-founded in 2017 by myself, Timothy Paul Jackson, and Nicole Lindsay. We're two native Detroiters with a vision to create sustainable communities and bee populations by reimagining vacant landscape into educational apiaries and or pollinator-friendly spaces. We do have a mission or a vision. We believe a healthy future for bees reflects a healthy future for humanity. The health of those in our inner city, specifically people of color, is often the last to be considered. It's our mission to change this. By transforming vacant lots into urban bee farms, we revitalize neighborhoods. For Detroit Hives, a honeybee education and conservation initiative that engages urban communities in our mission by creating cultural experiences that are both educational and relatable. We want to talk about just a little bit of our leadership and our board. We cannot do this by ourselves. So thanks to our board of directors, ranging from legal to even youth advocacy, we cannot do this by ourselves. We do have 3 core focus areas, starting with education, conservation, and community development. We also call it our 3P system. The bees are not the only ones that benefit from our project. It's people, planet, and pollinators. So let's start with education. This is a pretty bold statement. We've educated over 2,000 students on the importance of honeybee conservation since we started our mission. And we've done this with partnering with the Skillman Foundation to prototype a youth program called Bee to Change. This is a conservation fellowship designed to empower and equip inner city youth to be the change in their own communities, to learn how to combat vacant lots within their own neighborhoods. A lot of times when you're undergoing development in the city, most of the voices that are heard are from city council or maybe municipalities, or maybe even from older residents. Sometimes they leave out the voice of our youth when it comes to developing or shaping our cities. And that's what we want to do with this project, is give them the power, give them a voice. But not only that, but give them funding to learn how to transform a vacant lot in their own community. We also found ways to inspire the next generation through art, music, and technology. We've developed an app called Beemoji. It's an emoji app designed to raise bee awareness through mobile messaging. Through this app, we were able to generate over 100,000 downloads, educating the next generation or raising awareness of the next generation through emojis. Another way we've educated the general public is through our documentary. It's called Detroit Hives. This one documentary has been screened in over 35 film festivals. It's been on tour with Mountain Films to screen over 200 countries. And also there was a curriculum paired with this education to educate millions of students worldwide. And here are just some of the film festivals that Detroit Hives documentary has been featured in, thanks to our partners with Spruce Tone Films. It's been highlighted in the National Geographic Short Film Showcase, the Earth X Film Short Film, the official selection with Mountain Films, the Free Film Festival, as well as the Rose Foundation Film Festival as well, just to list a few. Pass this one. Let's talk about conservation. Detroit is the place to be. And what we mean by that is, even though there's over 75,000 vacant lots currently, and a lot of times when you associate vacant lots, you associate blight, crime, or injuries in your neighborhood, but most people don't think about how it can help with conservation. And what's helping is that These vacant lots are, I would consider, undisturbed land. No one is spraying any harmful chemicals on these vacant lots. No one is tending to these vacant lots. So what's been happening is something magical. Biodiversity is being able to happen. You see so many different types of native wildflowers, from chicories, from clovers to dandelions. Many different type of perennials are still there where neighbors haven't tended to them. So they're being visited by many of Michigan's native bees. Actually, Michigan has over 450 native bees, and it's providing great sources of local nectar and pollen. And we believe that vacant lots help provide food security for pollinators. And in return, pollinators help provide food security for us as well. In fact, the University of Michigan has conducted some studies where they said bumblebee populations are higher in Detroit than in some less urban areas, and vacant lots could be a factor. Let's highlight some of our locations. This is a little bit dated. We currently exist in 13 locations, and we currently are managing 45 beehives right here in the city of Detroit. So we like to highlight some of our key locations in the city of Detroit. Starting with the Ford Resource Engagement Center in partnership with the Ford Motor Company Fund. Ford Motor Company sponsored 3 beehives to help assist with the community garden at the Ford Resource Engagement Center, but also to help support the education of bee conservation. Let's talk about my second location that's near and dear to me. It's we have hives at Mumford High School. Mumford High School is my alma mater. I attended school there and graduated in 2001. From there, I wanted to find ways to get back to my school. And what better way than to provide or hosting hives to assist with the community garden, but also an education opportunity to provide for the next generation of youth. Let's move forward with community development. Our project is more than just putting bees in vacant spaces or in vacant lots or just for the cross-pollination. It's about creating a hive, creating a community. Once again, it's about people, planet, and pollinators. So what's great about this project is that we're just not placing hives in places, we're revitalizing communities. Let's start with our very first project, the East Warren Apiary. In the photo you see above is the before picture of our East Warren Apiary. It was a vacant lot that was been left abandoned for over 10 years. In the photo you cannot see it, but there's a lot of hidden treasures there. Hidden treasures as far as mattresses, tires, debris, you name it, was on this vacant lot. And then below picture is the after. It's what we were able to transform this space in less than 6 months. And we transformed it into an outdoor learning classroom, a learning hub for communities to learn about the importance of bees, to the community, but also mirrors transformed into an apiary for the community. And in this photo, we have a community resident. His name is Jamar Braggs. What we love most about this place is that it's open for the community. There was never a place where you can go and visit and suit up and learn about bees. Here at Detroit Hives, we want to create a space that once again will change the narrative, that will help people get over their fears about bees and provide a place where children can learn about beekeeping. In this photo, we have Jamar Braggs, who was very intrigued and was looking at Nicole and looking at how we was conducting hive inspections, and he just had some questions. And that's what we definitely invite at our East Warren Apiary or any of our sites, is inviting for the community.
Now we asked him if he wanted to suit up, but you know, he from the neighborhood and he was like, you know, I've been through worse.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid of these bees.
Yeah.
So luckily he didn't get, the bees were calm, they were busy at work. So he got a chance to educate them. We educated him about the importance of bees. This was the first time actually having up close and personal time with the bees and seeing it up close for the first time. So also at our bee farm, we have events where we invite the community out. So we had bee music with Ife Best. He is a world-renowned African drummer. So what we did was we found out that there's this communication between bees, honeybees, and drumming. It is a spiritual connection. And also inside the hive, when the lacquer, the baby bees are kind of like, well, the younger bees are kind of slacking off. the older bees will begin to do a drumming noise to kind of get them amped up to do the work inside of the hive.
Yep.
And so we had them come out and do a drumming session for the community.
Yep. So what's great about this event is that it was intergenerational. We saw grandparents, we saw parents and their grandchildren. It's about creating a space that's inclusive for all living things. And that's what's great about the community development aspect of this. Like a lot of times when you think about farming, you think about bees, you think about having those bees in the back, very far back where people can't engage with them. But it's about creating spaces for people to embrace nature. So the number one question is, how do you inspire the next generation of leaders in sustainability? Ladies and gentlemen, introducing mini murals. Our secret sauce of inspiring the next generation is through art, music, and technology. So what is mini murals?
So Mini Murals is an art initiative designed to engage local artists on honeybee conservation through a social curriculum. In the past years, we collaborated and commissioned 10 local artists from Detroit to paint mini murals on all of our hives. So this gives artists a new perspective of how to visualize art through traditional platforms. And what we've observed from this initiative is that these artists were not aware of the importance of bee conservation until our project. Upon completion of this project, local artists gained an appreciation for bee conservation and learned ethical ways to support pollinators. Our mini murals also works to engage youth on bee conservation, and our apiaries now serves as living art galleries for the public.
Absolutely. When you invite youth out to a farm or a farm project, we didn't want them to see the plain traditional farm with the rusted barn doors. We wanted to find ways to really engage them, something that they would like. And what inspires youth is art. They love to see colors, and so do our bees. Bees love to see colors, and we love to paint on our hives. So we would love for you guys to show, we would love to highlight some of our mini murals in the next slide. Starting with this particular mini mural, this guy is holding a very interesting sign. The hand sign is my fraternity sign. But besides that, he's right next to one of our mini murals, and it's a very beautiful mini mural, I might add.
Yeah,
and this was done by Rashawn Rucker. He's an international artist, a nice artist fellow. He's also a Red Bull artist fellow as well. So this work can be seen all over around the world. And he's a native Detroiter.
And another artist that is shown here is Tony Hooligan of the Hooligans. He has a lot of tribal art, tribal inspired art around the city and the world. And so he created this cool mural on one of our hives.
And also we partner with Rely Detroit. He's a student at CCS to create this beautiful artwork, all done by a Sharpie.
And then the other hive that we have that we showed previously at Forage Resource and Engagement Center was done by Phil Simpson.
And this one?
And this one is done by Ndubisi Okoye. He is a local Detroit artist. He also has art all around the world in our Eastern Market. And he created this hive for us, and he has like this message on here where this is how he's inspired by the information that we gave him was honey makes life sweeter.
And we have a very short video of the process, or just the social curriculum that he was a part of with this mini mural.
So my name is Ndubisi Okoye. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Grew up in the city, went to high school, graduated, went to art school in the city as well. I'm a multifaceted creative. I'm a creative director at a nonprofit called Merit Goodness, and I'm also a muralist around the country. What got me into art, I've been doing art since I can remember, honestly. Sketching on walls in my mom's house, sketching on my sneakers, whatever I can get my hands on. And that just naturally progressed to going to art school, ended up being a full-time muralist and creative director. It makes me feel like I have my place in the world by doing art and creating all the time. Just a special bond I feel like I have with other people around the world. Anything Detroit I want to be a part of, but also just the cause. When I read up on what you guys were about and how you guys wanted to save the bees and make basically homes for the bees, I wanted to be a part of it in whatever way I could bring my creativity, like adding extra sauce to whatever you guys got going on. I just thought it was a hand in glove fit. I thought it was amazing. I researched like how much bees contribute to the environment and to us as humans, like what they provide as far as the different foods we get from them pollinating other plants. I didn't know they had such a big impact until I researched it more. So that made me think of creating for the queen, all the worker bees creating for the queen, creating all the honey and the hives and all the combs and all that detail. I thought that was like a good phrase that also parallels to like black families. Like women lead a lot of black families where I come from. So we all try to please our mothers. We all want to be a part of our family and taking care of our moms. So it was like a cool little parallel. And honey makes life sweeter. I thought it was just a dope phrase that I came up with, because it does. If I could be a bee, what would I do? I mean, I don't know. I would just enjoy flying. Like, that'd just be dope. Pollinating plants would be amazing. Be able to, like, flying is, if I had a superpower, I would want to fly. So if I would be a bee, I would just fly all the time.
I think if I could be a bee, I'll fly all the time as well. Let's also move forward with the education at civic engagement. Not only do we provide educational opportunities at our East Warren Apiary or many other sites, but we do also provide ways that the community, but also others can give back. And this is one of the spring alternative breaks that we hosted in partnership with UConn.
So we actually had Duke University come out and visit our bee farm as well.
Okay.
We had a volunteer day with University Liggett. It's actually a high school here in Michigan. And their 11th grade class comes out every year to volunteer at our locations.
Due to COVID-19, we haven't had any in-person volunteer days as of yet. So we really miss being able to offer these civic engagement opportunities, and hopefully for next year, things will be a lot better. So.
We had Jack and Jill of America come out and visit us. This was a Detroit chapter or the Motor City chapter. This is a group of youth. We want to engage them about the importance of bee conservation.
Yep. Even we work with corporations. So we have the privilege of working with Alley Financial. And Alley Financial is a banking institution that helps secure banks and loans for individuals and businesses. In this case, we partner with them to secure a pollinator food bank to serve as a youth pick for all pollinators and insects.
And then, of course, we had our elementary youth come out. This is a tour with Roper School. They came out to visit our farm. This class actually named our queen bees, which was so cool. So we gave them opportunity to name the queen bees, and their names were Beyonce,
Beatrice,
Cardi B,
Patricia,
and what was the other one? You say Queen Elizabeth?
No, Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth. And they loved it so much that they talked about it to other elementary school classes that the 5th grade class actually begged their teacher to come out and visit our farm. Yep. So they came out.
Yeah, we had 2 classes from the Roper School come out.
Yeah. And so we also got an opportunity to educate our girls. So a lot of the times when girls come out, well, this particular Girl Scout troop came out, they were afraid of bees before we started talking to them about the importance of bees. So at the end of it, they were really engaged. The fear went away. And so we love to have the Girl Scout troops come out, and they actually earned their badges too.
Yep, so this is also another way. It's a conservation project where Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts can earn a conservational badge, whether it's a bee badge or earn their Eagle Scout as well.
So we had another Girl Scout troop come out. So they found out about the Girl Scout troops coming out and visiting and just passed the word on. So we had some more Girl Scout troops come out. This is a mead making event that we had with Hazon. They're a Jewish community organization. And we had them come out to learn about the importance of bees. And they actually used our honey to make a mead that we didn't actually get the sample until a year later after this event.
Awesome. We even had Harvard Hives all the way from Chicago come out to see why Detroit is the place to be. We even partnered with universities like Wayne State University and Detroit Experience Factory to host local tours for students to give them something to do during the summer. And this was a great way to engage our youth on summer projects that are local in the community that are created and done by real Detroiters creating real change.
And we had some more youth come out and visit our bee farm as well.
And this was from class from University of Detroit.
This is another tour through Detroit Experience Factory. We had the opportunity to speak at a sustainable conference that year. Timothy actually spoke at the conference. And so they came and visit our bee farm. This was a community tour to see what was going on within the city of Detroit.
Yeah, because there's so much happening in downtown, part of revitalization. And there was nothing really happening inside our communities. We were seeing our communities left out. And that's what really inspired, Nicole and I to do something to get back to our community. For most, we wanted to change the narrative, what most people thought about the inner city of Detroit, because at the time, it wasn't always the place to be. A lot of people didn't really want to go to the communities or the inner city neighborhoods, but we found a way to change that narrative.
Yep, so we want to take the initiative to be the ones to make that change instead of waiting around for them to finally get into our community. So we want to be the ones to step up and make that change. This is University of Liggett again. This is the following year, 11th grade class. This was at our
State Fair and Hoover location. This location is a commercial parking lot that just sits under an acre at 32,800 square feet. It is being converted into a community garden for local residents to have access to grow their own food. And they're there to help on this particular day to help tend to our parking lot and just tidy it up. And also we've had Indiana University and Purdue University. It's a combination school come out, and they came out to see why Detroit's a place to be, to learn more about our nonprofit and how they can help. So let's talk about some of our accomplishments. This is a slightly, I would say, little dated, but I just want to highlight some of them. In essence, we created Detroit first educational apiary. We've increased our high success rate from 40% to 60%. We hosted well over 600 honeybee tours at our East Warren apiary. Again, we developed the Beemoji sticker app, whereby we received 100,000 downloads in the iMessage store. We educated over 2,000 students on honeybee conservation. Partnered with Spruce Tone Films to create Detroit Hives, a documentary that has been screening over 16 national film festivals and is currently on tour with Mountain Films to screen over 200 countries. Prototype Be the Change, a youth conservation fellowship, whereby we awarded a grant to 6 students at my alma mater, Mumford High School. And just moving forward, we received the 2019 Keep Michigan Beautiful President's Plaque and the 2019 Impact Award by EarthX Films. And lastly, we received the Spirit of Detroit Award from Detroit City Council. I want to share some of our buzz. Our work has been featured nationally through National Geographic, Huffington Post, USA Today, Black Enterprise, and Have Balanced Living, to list a few. And because of the buzz, it allowed us to generate some partners and sponsors. Some of our partners and sponsors include the City of Detroit, Airbnb, Slowe's Barbecue, Northwest Goldberg Cares, Brilliant Detroit, and Boys and Girls Club of America. Lastly, we definitely invite you guys to join the Hive. Follow us on social media. Please visit our website at www.detroithives.org. We're always looking for ways to partner and expand our mission here at Detroit Hives. And then lastly, we would love to open up the floor with any questions or comments.
I know I saw, thank you for that presentation. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I saw one question come up in the chat from John Cordiff. He had asked, what are your biggest challenges?
Gotcha. What are our biggest challenges? Biggest challenges. We have challenges all the time, and we just found ways to be very creative, navigate around them. Let me see. Biggest challenges, I think, is sometimes climate change has an impact on our pollinators. And then outside of that, I would say dealing with bees. Bees, of course, as beekeepers, our job is always to create successful high rates and have our bees managed and survive over the year. And sometimes, as beekeepers, you lose hives. I think that's one of our biggest challenges is trying to keep all of our hives, successful over the year. And sometimes we'll lose half, or sometimes we'll lose 20% of our colonies, and it just happens. We constantly treat, whether it's in the spring, summer, and fall. We monitor our hives for moisture. We monitor our hives to make sure they have enough food. But in essence, something always happens. So that's sometimes some of our biggest challenge with managing bees.
We got a lot of questions coming in.
Okay.
Try to do them in the order I see them.
Okay.
Please use the Q&A, guys. I see them in the chat, but the Q&A is easier. I can't lose them. So one of the questions was from Jordan Lee. How can we help you? And are you expanding to other cities?
Very good that you mentioned that. So we've been able to successfully expand with a business model in Kansas City, Missouri as Mohives KC. There is under the direction of Marion Pearson, and we currently collectively have over 6 hives there. How others can help be a part of the buzz is that we also founded National Urban Beekeeping Day, and we're looking for supporters to spread the word. We're looking for supporters to plant more flowers and to learn about the ethical treatment of pollinators. Also, there's ways that people can support our nonprofit by visiting our website, by sharing a lot of our content, by following us on social media, but also by donating to our nonprofit as well to help further our mission. We're always looking for volunteers to join our board, but also to bring around skill sets around fund development, grant writing, and also legal. We're looking for those type of skill sets, whether it's to volunteer on our board or to help in some kind of advisory role.
Thank you for answering that question. Another question we have, we've been getting is, have you worked any with pollinator gardens to support bee colonies? And have you worked any with native plants in the community?
Absolutely. Great that you mentioned that. If possible, I can share one of our newest projects. It's just a photo gallery. We've been fortunate to work on our newest project, which is called the Perennial Propagator. And what the Perennial Propagator is that we transform the vacant lot into a space that's designed to bring the community together, but not only the community, to actually support native bee population or pollinator population. And this one space is home to over 300 native wildflowers, and it's designed to support bee diversity. Again, Michigan is home to over 450 native bees, and no, we're not about to list and name all the native bees, but a few of my favorites are the bumblebee, sweat bee, leafcutter bees,
Longhorn bees,
yeah,
orchid bees.
and one new, it's not a native bee, but we have found ways. I think we found a new love of liking the wool carder bee. Yeah. So right now I'm going to share the screen of our newest project that supports native bees and native wildflowers. This is one of the photos of our Brightmoor pollinator habitat. Once again, it is home to over 300 native wildflowers. It's also a registered certified site through the Pollinator Partnership as a bee-friendly site, and it's also registered with Monarch Watch as a certified monarch way station as well.
Also with this site, once our flowers reach adult, we'll be able to split those flowers and pass them out through the community. So this also gives an opportunity for the residents to beautify their home, but also to provide more food for our native bees as well.
And what's great about this project is that we do have a water source on site for native bees, but also a site, a water source for our native wildflowers. And we worked with the Detroit Fire Department to fill up our water totes to make sure that we have enough water to keep our plants alive, but also a water source for our pollinators and insects as well. And this is what it looked like when we were close to completing it towards the end. I know since the winter had came, a lot of the plants have died, and these are all perennials, so they will be growing back very strong and beautiful this upcoming spring.
Those pictures of volunteers that came out and helped us with the project.
And what's great about this project is that it does support our initiative on making Detroit an official bee city. On November 26th of 2019, we partnered with the Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy, as well as the Detroit City Council to pass a resolution recognizing Detroit as an official bee city. As a bee city is supporting the 450 native bees that we have here in the city of Detroit. And part of this is to form a committee to also pass this responsibility on the city of Detroit, as well as its residents, that we all play our part in supporting sustainability and native bee conservation. Yeah. And here's the before and after. So that's what we love here at Detroit Hives is forming or transforming spaces, whether it's transforming a vacant lot into an educational apiary or a pollinator-friendly space, a space that provides shelter or a place that provides nectar and pollen sources, either for our native bees or native pollinators, or for honeybees as well. Okay. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
That's really cool. So another question I have, what bee strain do you have the most of? Also, are most of your hives coming from splits, or are you still buying bees?
Yeah. So a little bit of both. They're coming from splits, and we are still purchasing bees. We buy our bees local to make sure that our queen is climatized and that a lot of our colonies are mite resistant and raised to be mite resistant. And the strand that we have is the queen is
Saskatraz.
Saskatraz. I always have a hard way of pronouncing that. Saskatraz. So, you know, before then, a lot of our strand has been Italian. But one thing we noticed is that, you know, while keeping Italian bees, they're great for, you know, urban communities. They're great as being docile. But you want your bees to have a little bit more of a strand, a little bit more resistance, mite resistance, or a little bit aggressive, so they're able to, you know, survive a little bit longer and whatnot. So
I'm learning something. I never heard that name before. I hear Italian bees around
Yeah.
here. Next question I have is, have you been doing any work with golf courses? This question comes from Jeff Sexton. He's a golf course superintendent in Southern Indiana, and he has hives on his course.
that's wonderful. We would love to place hives at a golf course. Coming from a caddy, I used to be a caddy when I started at 11 years old at Plum Hollow Golf Course, but I would love to be able to have our nonprofit host hives at golf courses.
Yeah.
But we don't have any hives at any golf courses. We partner with the city to place hives at vacant lots. We place hives at community gardens and local schools, but no golf courses yet. So
Yeah.
if you're watching and you're in the Michigan area, we'll love, and you have a golf course or or a connection to a golf course, we'll love to be able to host a hive at that golf course.
I've never seen bees at golf courses, and I play golf like a lot. I figured chemicals on the course would mess with them. But this question comes from a Detroit local that's looking to learn more about beekeeping and native plants to support hives. Do you have any suggestions for ways to get started that are hands-on?
Yeah, so one of our partners is the Michigan State University Extension. And through that partnership, we became pollinator champions. It's a great free course that you can take online. It teaches you everything about native bees and native plants and how to look for them and how to care for them. So if we can just provide a link on where you can sign up to become a certified pollinator champion through Michigan State University Extension, I think that's a great next step. Yep. And there's another program called Sweet on Detroit.
Yeah, it's one of the programs that we went through to learn to get our education. It is through Keep Growing Detroit, and they have a program called Sweet on Detroit.
And that's mainly focused on honeybees and urban beekeeping. But with Michigan State University Extension Certified Pollinator Champion Program, that's specifically focused on native bees and native plants.
I hope my fellow extension educators are taking note of this because we need these programs here too. Another question from David Hughes is lack of bee forage a problem for you?
No. So one great thing about Detroit, it's considered a greenland, a greenway. There's so many that are considered undisturbed. And that's one of the number one causes to decline in pollinators and insects. It's not always chemicals. It's the loss of habitat. We've done away with creating greenways, or we've done away with those green habitats, and we develop highways and buildings and roads. But one great thing about Detroit is that we currently have over 75,000 vacant lots. These vacant lots are providing shelter for many pollinators and birds and insects alike. There's been increase in deers, there's been increase in different type of insects, roly-polies, ladybugs, lightning bugs, etc. But also there's been an increase in native bees as well. So on these vacant lots, there's tons of cover crop, tons of clovers, tons of dandelions that have not been sprayed by anyone. So it's great sources, not the best sources, but it's readily available sources for our pollinators to forage off of. And also there's so many mulberry trees and crabapple trees. Maybe those neighbors have relocated or passed on, but those perennials are still there. Those crabapple trees are still there. Those hostas and tiger lilies are still there, and the perennials, they grow back year after year.
That's awesome. Next question is about maintaining your space. So who maintains the garden? Do you have any assistants managing the hives? People in the community helping you, or do you have volunteers?
All the above. So we work with community organizations to volunteer. They have a pool of tons of great volunteers and resources. We also partner with Master Gardeners. Master Gardeners have to do community service, a number of community service every year. So that's part of our resources for volunteers in that way. And then we also do work with some volunteers to manage some of our hives as well. What we can't do is by ourselves. Yeah. And then lastly, we do hire local residents to tend to a lot of our landscapes, whether it's mowing our lawns or just making sure that a lot of our properties look well groomed.
Nice. Next question is, have you used the pandemic as an analogy to help people understand the challenges facing bees? Bees also run into virus transfer problems.
I think we did the reverse. I think we used the analogy that bees keep their hive clean, and that it's really important to keep your hive or your home clean as well. So bees do a very good job of keeping their hive sterile. And during this pandemic, many people have been in home, many people have stayed home during the shelter. They gave the environment a break. Many of these factories were closed down for a couple months, and it gave the environment a break. We started to see a boost in insect population, and we started to see more bees and more insects thrive.
I saw that, noticed that too.
Yeah.
So have you inspired anyone to study entomology after visiting your sites?
Yes, there's been some current students that are already studying, were considering studying entomology. And I think through our story and do what we've been able to do, it just reconfirmed what they've been able to do. Other than inspired to study entomology, we've inspired so many others to create similar organizations and nonprofit with beekeeping, but also inspired them to want to keep hives of themselves or plant more flowers and create wildflower gardens, or want to become change agents in their community. If it's not tending to bees, then it's learning how to transform that space into a garden or a community gathering space.
Next question. This is also from Jeff Sexton, who had the golf course bees. So what do you do with your honey? How much do you produce in a typical year?
Yeah, very good question. So we have a contract with our bees, and we have somewhat of a verbal contract with our bees, and we leave around 80 to 100 pounds of honey. They have to have 80 to 100 pounds of honey for them to make it over the winter. Anything over that, we do work with local businesses. We do host community tastings before COVID for people to come out and sample our honey or buy our honey. We do also place our honey in local farmers markets for people to purchase as well. And lastly, we found creative ways to get our honey from our hive to your doorstep by partnering with DoorDash. So if you're in the 48214 zip code area, you can go to DoorDash and order our honey, and it will come from the hive or from the jar to your doorstep. Yeah.
I think Dr. Harper had a question that he wanted to ask you guys also.
Okay.
Hey, that was really awesome. Thank you. It is really awesome. Thank you. I actually think my question got answered. I was curious where you got your bees. So I was excited to see that you got them from a Canadian source. You have the Saskatraz bees.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all really, really excellent and inspirational. Thank you. So I'll give up the rest of my time here to other questions in the Q&A.
Awesome.
Okay.
You've also had just amazing comments and support in the comments that I've been reading, but please take the time to look through that. People have been really supportive. There's others doing similar work. Bob Walters is sharing, have you heard of Field Watch? It's a nonprofit entity, and they manage free and voluntary mapping registry that connects beekeepers and pesticide applicators.
Mm.
Wow.
That's my first time hearing about them. It was called Field Watch?
Yep.
Field Watch, yes. Yeah, a lot of comments saying fantastic work. How can you help? You want to do it here in our neighborhood type of answers.
The work needs to be done. So,
yeah.
We have a few more minutes if anyone has any other questions. And Jeff is saying reach out to GCSAA for information about golf courses in your area.
Okay. GECFAA?
GCSAA.
Okay.
I guess if there are no more coming up, I'll take one or two more then.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I'm curious. I'm curious about water sources for all the hives.
Yeah. So for water sources for other hives where we don't have water totes or rainwater catch systems, we either work with residents to make sure that our shallow bowls are filled up. We either take a bird bath and allow it to collect rainwater, or we just fill it up, make sure there's water in there once a week, and we place stones or little rocks in there. You know, bees are not, they're great flyers, but they're not great swimmers. So they need landing stones to safely land on and drink, you know, some water. So.
Yeah, and then anytime we have people come out to our bee farm and they always ask, how can I help with the bee population? I said, well, they're always thirsty when they're out flying. So what you can do is create like a little water source for the bees and using like a Frisbee or like some a little bowl that your parents have that they don't want to use anymore, collect some rocks or some marbles, place it in there and give them a water source. So a lot of people didn't think about that. Like,
yeah, because when the forager bees are out, they're not, you know, they may be far away from our hive. And then they're looking for local water sources, you know, around when they're out foraging. So we encourage neighbors and residents to leave out water sources, you know, or small bowls for our pollinators and insects. So we have to share that responsibility.
Just like that.
We have another question coming in about what local ordinances or neighborhood concerns did you have to address before establishing your apiaries?
Well, part of it was that you had to have, in regards to having or hosting hives, they had to be paired with the wildflower garden or a
Or like
a vegetable garden. It just couldn't be hives by itself. And then in some cases, the hives had to be surrounded by a fence where they had to fly at least over 6 feet over the fence. They just couldn't be out in the open. So you just couldn't have hives just out in the open and not paired with no type of wildflower garden or what have you. So that was some of the ordinance and issues that we had to be in compliance with the city. As far as neighbors, most neighbors gonna have their fears of wasps. They think they are bees, but they're not. Wasps and bees are two different species and sometimes with two different personality characteristics. And we had, it's a learning curve to educate the community on the difference between bees and wasps. But one of the other services we do provide that allows us to educate the difference between bees and wasps is that we have performed and hornet removals and relocated hornet nests from neighbors' home.
And underground wasp nests as well.
Yeah, so there's the reason why is that we get calls all the time about hornets and wasps, and many people think they're bees, and in fact they're just two different species. We didn't tend to them at first. We say those are wasps and hornets, and we don't really specialize in that until we came across an article. It was a news article that happened inside the city this year.
It was this year.
It was a landscape. It was a landscaper that passed away. He was stung by an underground wasp nest. But the way the media and the news put it out is that he was stung by bees. It was an underground wasp nest, but they labeled them as bees. And that's something that we did not want to keep happening in the city of Detroit. We didn't want that narrative to keep happening, where people are afraid of bees and not knowing the difference of bees and wasps and how to address that. We didn't want anyone trying to, we didn't want to make another person, open to being stung by wasps or, carrying the same narrative about bees and wasps. So from there, we've been able to reach out to residents and safely relocate hornets nests and underground nests from their hive and safely relocate them from their home into other areas.
Yeah, so it's something that we just started doing this year.
Yeah.
So
we've been able to relocate over 40 hornets nests from residents' homes.
Where do you relocate them to?
Very good that you asked. So again, the city of Detroit has over 75,000 vacant lots. In some of these areas, there are no homes nearby. There's pretty much desolate. And these are great areas because it supports biodiversity. So we give them a second chance by trying to, reestablish their colony from another, vacant area where there's, not too much of a community nearby.
And then the last question I'm seeing in the Q&A is, do you have hives on city property, city parks? If you do, did the city pay for them or are they paid for by another source?
So currently we do not have hives on any city properties or city parks. We partner with the city to buy back its vacant lots. That way we have site control. We partner with community gardens to make sure that we support food security. And that way there's access to tons of local nectar and pollen sources. And lastly, we partner with local schools. This way we can carry out our mission to educate the next generation on sustainability, but also find ways to bring bees to students and support their conservation. But we would love to be able to host hives on city properties and city parks or whatnot. But as of right now, we've just been able to buy back its vacant properties, partner with schools, and partner with community gardens.
Thank you. Thank you for answering the questions. Thank you for that presentation. Somebody put in the chat that it's Giving Tuesday. So I don't know if you guys want to plug your website one more time.
We do appreciate it. It is Giving Tuesday, and we are looking for funding to continue our operations. You can visit our website at www.detroithives.org, whereby you can make a donation. You can also follow us on social media or look for our Giving Tuesday campaign on Facebook at Detroit Hives.
Yes, thank you. And also I put it in the chat to please complete our short survey so we can get feedback to do more presentations and talk about more topics that everybody's interested in today. So thank you to everyone that attended. Thank you, Tim and Nicole. I really enjoyed this presentation. I hope everybody did as well.
We do appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.